I'm Ramses.
And I'm the Vespor.
And we just returned from Lexington Comic and Toy Convention 2022. And we're here to give you our full review. But before we do that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell.
That's right. You'll hear a lot more where this came from. Welcome to our second season of Vesper's Retro Review. And we're going to start you off with Vesper's Convention Review. That's right, an after-event full review of our experiences at Lexington Comic and Toy Convention for 2022. Vesper, start her up.
Well, first thing I'd like to say is we don't go to very many cons, but the ones that we do go to, we want to review and give you an idea of how they were. So we figure, you know what? We're going to a place that is literally filled with nostalgia, and hopefully things to come that will become nostalgia. There's plenty of artists, comics, and toys, just like the name implied. It was a 4-day event at Rupp Arena from the 24th of March to the 27th of March. Ramses, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a background here?
Alright, so we didn't go to Thursday because really there's not much going on the Thursday side of the event. That's just we want to do early check-in, play some games. Nope, we're running to that. We just wanted to see some guests, have some fun, buy some stuff. To start things off, this is their 10th year anniversary. So yeah, they've been doing this since 2012. We started doing this in 2019. Yep. And then we wanted to do it every year after. But guess what happened? COVID hit. That's right. So the 2020 we wanted to go to was canceled. 2021 they wanted to do, and it was still very limited. So the good news is they let you carry over your ticket. If you bought a ticket for the 2020 or the 2021, you were able to use it this year. So we used our 2020 tickets for this event, and boy, did everybody else in the world do so. But yeah, we'll get to that in a bit.
Also, as a side note, this took place at the Central Bank Center, which is located right next to Rupp Arena.
And the good news is they totally redesigned it. So when we were there in 2019, it was all dilapidated looking, definitely was showing its age. Before COVID hit, they had these huge plans to redesign the whole thing. The good news is they did redesign the whole thing. The bad news is because of COVID, the whole project got delayed a little bit, so we were more cramped on the space.
To give an idea, in 2019, they had 3 show floors minimum for vendors. In this one, all the vendors were put in one large conference area.
And they had a separate room just for gaming. I don't even know where they did it this time.
It was at the Hyatt, actually.
They made it work, but we'll get to why it was also the downside a little bit of this convention. But yep, so we started out on Friday, and I think that was a great choice. Friday's when all the action happened. Floor opened at 12 p.m. noon, which is great. They let everybody in. It wasn't packed at all because it was Friday. Friday's their lower turnout because it's a weekday. So we went in. We already had our tickets from 2020, and amazingly, they just took us right in, right? We walked right to the desk, and they didn't even care that they were 2-year-old tickets. They said, yep, here you go.
Well, they scanned them, and last Friday I thought I was going to have to explain that these are the older tickets originally printed, and then the fact that we had them for 2 whole years without losing them amazes even myself.
And we had the 4-day badge. Yes, you're like, oh, you didn't go Thursday. Yeah, but it's still more cost-effective to buy the 4-day badge for all 3 days.
And I just want to point out something as well. Something that has changed is the fact that they no longer say that these are VIP passes. Now they're 4-day holder passes. Now this could have came around in the limited showing they had in 2021, but for us, this is a brand new thing. And it's a minor thing, but I tend to like it better because the VIP passes truly didn't feel like VIP passes.
All it did was you get the first 2 rows to watch the celebrities in their question and answer panels. That's all the VIP got you. The type of convention this is kind of like a geek con. You know, this is where it's a retro con. That's why it's fitting of our channel here. They have guests from yesteryear. They focus on anime and old school TV shows and comic books. Very heavy on comic books. It's really a geek con.
And now we're going to explain to you what we did on Friday. Now, remember, this is our experiences. Everybody else's experience will be different than ours, but we're going to give you our thoughts on it. And we're going to explain it from what we did, not for what you would have experienced if you went there by yourself.
Right. We're going to be very clear right now. We did not go to every single panel. We didn't do every single event. We didn't do cosplay. We didn't do DJs. Our experience is going to be very different from what others might have experienced. But this is exactly what we experienced, what we did, and we just want to share with you our thoughts.
So the first thing we did was arrive early on Friday. This is very important because parking always goes quick. But thankfully we got there at the right time, was able to pay our $10 parking fee and get right in. Once they scanned our tickets that were 2 years old, they allowed us to go into a back hallway and wait for the exhibit floor to open so we could start looking and shopping. The only bad thing about this is we only had less than an hour to look around in the exhibit center before getting to our first panel. Now on Friday, the convention hall where all the vendors are at was actually quite empty. Empty being relative, as in we could actually walk up and down the aisles.
On Friday, it was run so well They had everyone waiting inside, which was great because, believe it or not, even in late March, Lexington, Kentucky is a little chilly. Yeah, I know the weather's getting better in spring now, but no, this week was very chilly. It was in the 30s, low 40s, so thank goodness they let us stay inside Friday. We'll get to Saturday in a bit. Stay tuned. But that was great, and they had 3 lines. Fans were wearing all the costumes you can imagine. Everyone was so excited. It was like we were waiting 2 years to all be back together again. Yes, they had an event last year, but very few went to that. So this is really the biggest reunion. All the fans were finally back together again.
This thing draws thousands of people.
Oh, this is a big event. Yeah, don't get us wrong. We're making it sound like this is a little... Lexington might not sound like a big city to guys, but it's the second biggest city in Kentucky, and it draws a lot of people from the whole state. So this is a big convention, and it got a lot of big guests. And yeah, this place is going to get packed. We're talking thousands of people, not hundreds. Thousands of people spread through these 4 days. Every kiosk spot was taken by somebody.
And this was on the 3rd floor. The convention divided everything up nicely into 3 floors. On the 1st floor was where you got your autographs. No pictures of any of the people in there, but we were able to find a picture down the hallway on the internet. 2nd floor, as you can see here, is where the guest speakers were going to be. There was 3 conference rooms down this hallway. There was a total of 5 meeting rooms, but they divided them up as such. They had meeting room 1 and 2, which was a smaller one. They had meeting room 3, 4, and 5, which is, of course, a larger one.
So really, it was 2 different areas you can go to for 2 different speakers. In the past, when they had a lot of guests, and again, this is the first con after COVID, so they didn't have a huge guest list, but in the past, when they had so many guests, they would split it where you can choose this one or choose this one, and they would split it between 2 different areas.
But since the convention center wasn't finished, they had an area dedicated to being basically the cafeteria. It had 3 or 4 different food vendors in.
So yeah, that's how it was all set up. And then the 3rd floor is where the ballroom was. That's where all the vendors were. That's where all the action was happening. It was packed sometimes, it wasn't, and we got the lay of the land. That was the first thing we did. And then we ran over to the meeting room number 345, because that's where our favorite, Dirk Bendict. And now to remind all you guys, Dirk Bendict played Face on A-Team, and he was also Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica.
But we're just going to say Dirk Bendict was awesome. It's not just because we're A-Team fans here. And the funny thing about his panel was, he came in there, he started talking, and the moderator couldn't even ask him a question. He was just excited to be there. He went off on tangents, but he told a wonderful tale about the A-Team, about Battlestar Galactica, about himself, his family. It was just a very wholesome experience, and if you knew anything about him or his characters, it was like seeing them in real life.
And now we should mention he's 77 years old. But yeah, he was still sharp. Yes, he was fumbling a little bit. He was having that old man syndrome. And yeah, he wasn't letting this moderator get a word in edgewise. The crowd was loving it. We were getting up. It was great hearing it. And the best part about Dirk is he didn't hold any punches. He's 77 years old. He's like, you know something? I put in my time. You're going to hear the truth. And he was very honest. He didn't like this. He didn't like that. He felt that this ruined this and he loved this. I mean, he was very honest. He gave a little quip about how Mr. T never shut up. He gave a bit of history of why Melinda left the show, which I thought was very interesting. And he talked about the trials and tribulation of being an actor. It's not easy being an actor. It was, like I said, he held no punches. Definitely listen to Dirk Bendict if you get a chance to do it. So very interesting man.
And most definitely don't believe everything you read about what happened on the A-Team, according to him.
No. And again, this is from his point of view.
And these were 45-minute panels. So they only had 45 minutes because they needed 15 minutes to get everybody in and seated for the next panel to start. So they would take us, we'd have to walk out, then walk back in, which was fine. So, because of this, we literally just went from panel to panel. And our second panel was Jim Shooter, which happened at 4 p.m.
So we're back in the same room again to hear Jim Shooter. We pretty much got the same exact seats, which was great. And we were excited. You know, a lot of people don't realize how important Jim Shooter is. Pretty much the head of Marvel Comics from the 70s into the 90s before they were sold. He was pretty much the man. And this was great. He really said a lot of cool stuff. Yeah.
Now, unlike Dirk, who came in and just started talking nonstop, he came in dressed up nice professional with his cane and said right off the bat, I don't know much about modern Marvel, but I tell you about everything that I took part in. I'll be glad to answer any question. And boy, did he answer. I even got 2 questions, and I'm proud to say on that one.
Yeah, he was pretty straightforward. He really just was there to answer the questions of the fans, and that was brilliant. He knew that, oh, how did this work? How is this? Oh, what happened here? How'd you get started? And what's your thoughts on this character? And who's your favorite? Yeah, he was all over answering everything. It was really great. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be this good.
And the best part about it was, it's just, he answered everything perfectly. You could tell this man was the head editor of Marvel. And because of that, his panel was very enjoyable, and you know what? It was a good follow-up to Dirk Bendict. And so we're off to our third and final Q&A.
And guess what we had to do again after the Jim Shooter Q&A ended? That's right, leave the room and come back in right again, same seat we had. And this is a good one. This had a lot of Pokemon voice actors and actresses. So it was Michael Hagney, who played the voice of various characters. He was very happy about his Psyduck voicing. And we had Megan Hollinshead, who was the voice of the nurse in Clefairy. And then we had Eric Stewart played the voice of Brock. And then the star of the show, of course, was Veronica Taylor, who played the voice of Ash for 8 years in the series. So this was a cool assortment of dubbed voice actors who did all the vocals for the English version of Pokemon. So this was actually really cool. I didn't know what to expect with this.
Yeah, and you know what? They gave a good history of how the show was done, how actually hectic this thing was, and how lucky it was they got to know each other, because when they was doing this, apparently they were in the same building. But once again, I don't want to ruin their shtick. All I can say was it was very informative, and a very fun panel.
We learned that they did a lot of other anime work. That's not really ruining anything by mentioning that. They were pretty much the people, besides a few others, they weren't the only ones, but this group of four really knew each other because they did a lot of 4Kids work, which was the company that at the time was doing a lot of the anime dubbing. They loved what they did. They couldn't wait to do the voices. That was another fun thing I remember. They were all doing the voices any chance they got. The crowd was going wild. They had a lot of kids. And you would expect kids in the audience for this, because this was a Pokemon-related panel. This Friday was great because all three panels we saw, all of them were really energetic. They were all on time. They were all into it from second one to the last second. They were so into the fans. They enjoyed what they did, and they brought the energy. You have all these guests from all different time periods and different mediums. You had comic book, you had anime, and you had a TV show. And that's the three we saw, and we got such a different feel, but I got the passion each time from whichever one we saw, and I thought that was good. That one went all the way to 5:45, so pretty much our day was over then. We could have done other things, like they had a Demon Slayer Q&A. We weren't really interested in that. And I'm sorry, all you Demon Slayer fans. It was only Zach Aguilar, anyway, voicing Demon Slayer. One important thing we had to do, so after we did all our Q&As, we ran downstairs to the signature section. We had to get Dirk Bendict's signature. Now, we made a custom picture. We know that usually when you do these custom signings, they're going to provide pictures, but they usually like zoomed in headshots of the actor, and they'll sign it in the little corner. Hey, this is from whoever, and then you hang their head on the wall. It's like, do we want to hang his head on the wall, or do we want something a little cooler? So we came up with a good idea. And Vespor actually came up with what he wanted, and then Ramses here helped create it, so it was kind of a joint effort. We both came up with what we want. And here's the picture. We're not going to give you the autograph because he wrote personal messages to each of us, Ramses and Vespor. But here's the template of what we used.
Yeah, for personal messages, go ahead and tell you mine. Says, stop following me. I'm not a stalker. I promise you this.
Well, the funny thing is, Vespor told Dirk, please put something funny. And he said, something funny, eh? And then that's when he came up with, stop following me.
Well, as you can see, he's pointing right at it, so it's perfect.
So yeah, we wanted this pointing thing because we thought, hey, that's funny. Instead of a facial or a zoomed-in portrait shot, let's have him pointing at the autograph again. And he thought that was brilliant. We're not going to reveal too much. It was kind of private what he said to us, but we'll give a little snippet here and there. He was more than happy to talk to the fans who wanted his autograph, and that's why Dirk was great. And I knew he would. Dirk seems like the guy that can't wait to tell what's on his mind. He's not holding back punches. He really is very honest.
And we're going to fanboy over Dirk Bendict. Yeah. So, I mean, when we told him that, we loved what he did and the A-Team, how it affected us growing up, he actually smiled genuinely and talked to us for 10 minutes afterwards.
It was great. And then when he saw the picture, he's like, wow, look at what you guys did. He thought the point, he couldn't even remember because he had a blue background picture. So it was done during that photo shoot. So he knew he took like 50 pictures during this photo shoot, but he didn't remember pointing because he's like, why am I pointing? What am I pointing at? And we're like, you tell us. We found the picture of you pointing. You tell us. So he thought that was great. He loved the idea. And he was just so impressed that we just wanted a picture because we're fans. Now we're not looking to resell it. We're not looking to put this on eBay. We want it personalized to Ramses Sylvester. We want it on the wall forevermore, him pointing at that signature. So he was great to talk to.
Stop following me.
Yeah, so he put stop following me there. And he put, wow, this is amazing on mine. I can't believe it. This is great. It's on mine because I didn't need a funny one. I just wanted something like thoughts.
As you can see there where it says Dirk Bendict, on mine he also put the one and only.
Yep, exactly. So this is great. So I'll tell you what I asked. I asked him what happened to Melinda Coolio. If you remember in our A-Team reviews, me and Vespor always thought the Amy Amanda Allen character was great. It's like, what happened?
AAA.
Yeah, AAA. It's like, what happened to her? So Dirk was pretty much like, yeah, she was hard to work with. Everyone always blamed George Rapard, but you know something? She was actually hard to work with. He said, I'm being very honest. He said, why would you want to leave a hit show? This is great. What are you doing? This is the media got right. She wanted to be more active with the weapons. She wanted to shoot more. She wanted to be more involved. And all the rest of the cast are like, what are you doing? We have a #1 show. Why are you trying to mess it? And She just kept complaining until it became too much. He revealed that George Papar got all the blame, but it really was, as the other side of the media reported, that she kept on bothering until it became, we can't work with this anymore, and they had to remove the character. So it was great coming from his mouth, actually hearing what we thought was the case, but we had to play both sides because that's the story we heard, you know?
And that was the biggest thing. He also told us about some personal things.
And we asked, how's Dwight doing? He said, I don't know, but I hope to see him soon. And I said, yeah, we missed Dwight Schultz. We wanted to see Dwight too. And he said, yeah, usually he joins me, but, he hasn't been feeling well lately, so he didn't join it this time.
By the way, Dwight Schultz was Murdoch.
Howling Man Murdoch, one of our favorites, so we were hoping to see him too. Hopefully we'll see him in the future, but yeah, it's been a while. Maybe he's not doing well. We're praying. We hope he's all right. And yeah, that's what we talked to him. That was our 10-minute conversation with him. We told him how much we love the show. We've been watching every episode. Very appreciative. He was very nice until pretty much his assistant said, get these guys out of here. We have a guy with a pop who wants you to sign it. So yeah, he said, all right, guys, go on. And it was a pleasure meeting him. And that was it. That was our experience with Dirk Bendict. And it was fun. Yes, we were gushing a little bit. We are fanboys. But you know something? That's what these conventions are for. Fans to enjoy it.
So, now that we went there after the last panel, we were absolutely exhausted and just wanted some food and go back to our hotel room and relax.
We saw some interesting costumes on Friday, actually. We saw Chun-Li. Someone was in a great Chun-Li costume. Wherever you are out there, you looked great. And Spider-Man was all over the place.
Everywhere.
Everyone and their mother and their brother and their sister and their father was a Spider-Man. You name it, they were Spider-Man. And then there was a Wolverine, I believe the rest saw. We saw 2 Clouds. And this is great. These guys are lugging these gigantic Cloud Final Fantasy VII swords around.
The Buster Sword, by the way.
Yeah, people were dropping it. People were like, ugh. And people had to move out of the way because this guy's carrying this cardboard sword around. It was hilarious. And we had Dragon Ball Z characters. So it was a lot of fun. Friday, I think, was probably our best day. So now let's get into Saturday. We're like, oh, this is great. If the convention is going to be exactly like this, we're in good shape. Unfortunately, no, the convention was as smooth as Friday went.
And you know what? It's freezing when we get there.
Yeah, so we did the same thing. They opened a little earlier on Saturday because they already warned us. The people helping there said, oh, yeah, Saturday's our big day. Saturday's our big day. We're like, big day? All right, good. They're going to have a bigger turnout. That's an understatement. So, yes, 10 o'clock they open on Saturday to all attendees. 9:45, we parked in the parking lot again, and then we're like blinking. Wait a minute, what's going on here? It's like 30 degrees out, and it's a windy cold, so it is freezing. Good thing we're both in our winter attire, my gloves and my winter coat. I'm all wrapped up, so I'm fine. Vespor also, he was prepared. Around the block of the bank center. It's like, what is going on here? Why are they not letting in? Nope, today they're not letting anybody in. You gotta wait outside this.
And there's 2 lines. There's the people that got in yesterday, us 4 day pass holders, because they did different levels.
Yep.
And then on the other side is everybody just coming for today. And that's the line that literally wrapped around the convention center. And boy, that line was coming in all day.
Yeah, that was nonstop. So they weren't kidding. When they said Saturday was gonna be a big turnout, they were not kidding. And it made this interesting. I don't want to say bad, because it wasn't bad. We had fun all 3 days. But this was interesting because now the place is packed. I don't think they realized the turnout when you have 2 years worth of tickets to still be cashed in, plus all the people who are interested on top of the people that still had tickets. So they did not account for how big a turnout this was going to be. And it was out of control. I think the organizer of this lost control of this somewhere as we went along here, because this is going to become a chaotic day.
But we don't know the entire story behind it. It could also be that they didn't finish the renovations on time for now. This convention center is actually quite large. They're only using like half of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this became overwhelming. They didn't know what to expect. So yeah, we thought we were going to get exactly what we got Friday. No. So we went into the ballroom again, expecting to see vendors. Forget it. It was a madhouse. You had people all over the place. I didn't take a picture then. We were so overwhelmed I didn't even have my camera. I took a lot of pictures.
It was so bad. They were literally getting on the speakers going, remember, keep moving along. Don't stand in the middle of the aisles and block. Just keep moving and then go into a vendor stall if it's possible. To look at their thing.
But nobody was listening. It was people. It was just mass chaos. Everyone in their cosplay costumes all over the place. Everyone talking. We're like, all right, let's just go to our first Q&A. At least we'll start the day off right. Maybe after the Q&A. So 11 o'clock is the Jason David Frank Q&A. And for all you guys, you should know who Jason David Frank is if you're listening to our channel here. He was the original Power Ranger, the Green Ranger on the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger series. He was the White Ranger on the same series. He became the Red Ranger on the Zeo series. You should know who Jason David Frank is, one of the most beloved Power Rangers of all time. So we were actually excited. I'm not saying we're big Power Ranger fans, but we liked the show. It was fun. It was a part of our childhood. Sure, why not?
But here's where things start to go bad.
We're in the room for 11 o'clock, and yet, Vespor, please tell them how it went from bad to worse.
Well, we get there, and then at 11, everybody's ready and excited. And then suddenly our moderator comes in and goes, he's not here.
We're all like, huh? What are you talking? Yeah, we're looking for him. We don't know where he is. So we're all mumbling. And now the moderator is going to have a very bad day. I mean, I was rough on him while there. Understand he's under a lot of pressure here. The guests have him at his mercy. What is he supposed to do? So he's stalling. He's trying to talk to the crowd and make jokes. And then a DJ walks up and says, I have a message from Jason David Frank. So they play some recorded message, and it's like, uh-oh. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know until after we heard this message. Like, oh, good, a message. What's it have to say? And the message was pretty much, hey guys, sorry, I'm running late, waiting for my car. My car didn't arrive yet. I can't wait to see all you guys. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. I want to thank my DJ friend here for playing the video. And he didn't play the video, by the way. He played a recorded version of it through a microphone. That's what we got to hear. And yeah, all right, cheer for him, guys. He did a great job. Yeah, I can't wait to see you. And we're like, wow, this guy has a lot of nerve. He didn't even get into his car. He didn't even leave wherever he's staying yet. And it's already 11:15 by the time we get this message.
And then he gets there about 10 minutes later, so obviously he stood in one of the swankier hotels and just, I guess, couldn't walk over.
Right, he was waiting for our car service to drive him in. I was like, wow, this guy's a lot of nerve. So yeah, the moderator's really like humming. He's trying to keep it going. So Jason David Frank shows up. He's wearing this stiff and tight business suit with the necktie around the neck, and he's all like professional looking and all like, look at how big and important and rich I am. I mean, he had that attitude already, and the crowd's not happy. And what's the first thing he does? Hey guys, yes, I'll take your question, but before we start that, and he goes right into advertising mode. We're like, what the? Doing a movie, and he's going to take the next 15 minutes of the 25 minutes left of his talk, by the way, to chill out the movie he's doing. So we're like, well, whatever.
And to be fair here, the movie does look awesome, and I suggest you go and see it. The big problem is that he sort of set the tone for the day at that point. We're not happy. It's cold outside. He comes in here and he doesn't sit and start answering questions till the last 5 minutes.
Right. It's kind of obnoxious. I mean, I really lost a lot of respect for Jason David Frank, and I don't hate him. Believe me. If his movie, I'll say, by the way, his movie's called, I'll even give a plug for it. It's called White Dragon. So check it out if you want to. It's up to you guys. I'm not forcing you guys or encouraging it. And it looked good for what it was. I will give him credit for that.
Keeps saying how much he likes his fans, and I truly do believe it because I actually got to meet him in some of the smaller locations where he's not having hundreds of people around him at all times. He's actually a very good guy to talk to one-on-one, but for whatever reason, this day, he just came off as an arrogant schmuck.
I'm sorry, he really came off as really arrogant and egotistical and just a jerk. I hate to say it.
Let me put you this way. Compared to the panels of Friday, his ovation was nothing compared to what was in the previous day.
He was mad that his trailer wasn't already loaded up, so that was another thing. His DJ friend who gave the message had to run up again and help him out, thank goodness. I mean, the whole thing seemed staged. His late arrival, his getting the trailer loaded up, his whole attitude. It all seemed like it was staged and plotted. I don't think it was, but it really felt that way to a lot of people.
Well, let me tell you also, he was so self-important that, he said, get out here, moderator, basically.
Oh, and the moderator was so mad, yeah, and I don't blame him. He was kind of disrespectful. He didn't even want the moderator sitting next to him, and I think this moderator realized that's the way it is with Jason David Frank.
Well, he's hosted him there for multiple times because Jason David Franks has been to this con multiple times, so I think he knows about Jason David Franks and his eccentricities.
And that already was a little off-putting. Let the guy sit there. That's his job. I mean, come on. You're being that obnoxious to the man. So, yeah. And
he sit there, for like 25 minutes trying to keep people from, leaving. Right. By the way, there was a lot of people that did walk out.
A lot of people did walk out. It was like, hey, who does this guy think he is? And I wish we did walk out, but I was interested to see what he had to say. I never saw him speak. I was curious, but it was disappointing. So finally, after he does his whole advertising spiel, it goes on forever. He finally lets us unworthy fans talk to him, and it's kind of off-putting. He has this arrogant and phony aura around him, like, oh yeah, it's always about the fans, always about the fans. But then it always gets back to him somehow. The subject is how to make money or how to be successful.
Wait, no, Ramsey, stop. Here's how we'll explain this to the people watching this. All right, on our left, we have a picture of William Shatner here. And on our right, we have a picture of Jason David Franks. Now, what do you see as familiar between these two? And if you haven't figured out what it is, it's ego!
The answer is, that's right, the ego. Oh my goodness. Jason David Frank thinks he's William Shatner, I guess. Yeah, because he acts exactly like him. And we love William Shatner. I believe William Shatner has earned it. He's worked his way up from the bottom. He really has earned it. Jason David Frank is not William Shatner. Jason David Frank thinks he's the next Chuck Norris. And again, I'm not going to besmirch anyone, and I wish him luck, and I will support him if he does. But you know something? Let's lower the ego a little bit. I think your ego is crushing everyone in the room here. He thinks he's on the path like Chuck Norris was. He thinks he's as big as William Shatner. I mean, you're a former Power Ranger actor who's investing your own money into a lot of projects, and I give you all the props in the world. I think that is great. I will support it if it's good.
We're inferring this by the way he treated the audience, by the way.
Yeah, the audience was very upset. I mean, you should see the reaction on the people. They were very upset, except for that one super fan who, I don't think you can upset him no matter what you did, but everyone was very upset.
Except for the kids, but they didn't know anything.
The kids didn't know what was going on. So it was very disappointing, and it was like, you know, we were really looking forward to this because we're Power Ranger fans, like I said, and, you know, to hear one of the biggest Power Rangers talk to the fans, that's such a special thing. You know, he did all these, you too can be a success if you believe in your dreams speeches, and we're like, what does that have to do with anything? We're asking about your career, and you're telling us anyone can be big like you are. It's like, really? That's the type of speeches we got. So yeah, we weren't very happy.
So my suggestion is, if you actually want to see Jason David Franks, do it when he's at a smaller location. He's not in front of so many people. We've only been to 3 of these conventions, so we don't have much to speak here, but in all of our experiences, he's one of the worst we've been to.
Yeah. So at 12 o'clock, we were so frustrated. We were going to see Nick MALEY. He's the one who was behind the creation of Yoda. But you know something? That David Jason Frank Q&A really off-put us. We went to the food court, and that helped us relax. So the food court on the second level was very impressive in the Bank Center. They really created a whole new space for it. It was like 4 or 5 different food stands in there, and I thought that was very well done. It helped both of us get relaxed again and get into the mood again.
And if you haven't been to a convention, be prepared to pay convention prices, which means $5 for a hot dog, $6 for nachos.
Yeah, exactly. And you know something? The food was good. I'll give them the credit.
Yes.
The food was good.
It wasn't worth the price we paid, but it was worth it because we paid. Yeah, it was worth it because we had to pay $10 for parking. We sure as heck weren't going to leave it.
No, that's for sure. So we didn't do the Nick MALEY Q&A, and we didn't do the Twin Peaks. You guys are probably like, what? You didn't do Twin Peaks? Believe it or not, your host here did not watch Twin Peaks. I know, that's one of the shows that escaped us. I never had an interest in it, and I guess Vespor never watched it either. So.
Oh no, I watched a few episodes, but somebody very important to me loved the show to death. So I understand what happened in the show because of what was told to me.
Yes, and who was at this 1 o'clock panel? A legend. You think Jason David Frank is a legend? No, get him out of here. Kevin Eastman, the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mirage Comic Books. Yes, this is the biggest of big here. This guy's like, he has a line out the door to get his autograph. I'm not kidding. When they heard Kevin Eastman was here, this is before the Q&A, by the way, there was a line around the corner to get this guy's autograph, and rightfully so. We didn't do it because I didn't want to wait on line, and I'm not obsessed with Turtles. I love the Turtle franchise, but not obsessed enough to need an autograph. But yes, Kevin Eastman, 1 o'clock. Oh boy, finally. So, again, it happens. We're in the room at 1 o'clock, and the moderator has a nervous look again.
But however, unlike this time, he goes, I know exactly where he's at. It's just guess taking him a little bit longer time to get down here. Well, long story short, his wife, Kevin Eastman, is basically his secretary, making sure he gets some places on time. But the way she's talking, she thinks there's going to be another panel tomorrow. Thing is, there isn't. He only has one Q&A. So I guess she thought that, you know, if he's a little bit late, it's not going to hurt because he'll do it again tomorrow. No. They clarified that real quickly because he actually had a presentation he wanted to show, which would answer a lot of the questions. And they thankfully said, no, just bring him in for Q&A. But the big difference here is between Kevin Eastman and Jason David Franks is he sat down there, he said, I love the fans. And we believed it because the reason he was late was because he was trying to get through all the line upstairs and he couldn't. That line was there all day.
As he mentioned, it was a mile long. No, not really a mile, but it was the longest line of anybody there. And Saturday was packed. We just mentioned how Saturday there was more people than you can imagine in the convention hall, and this is packed. The line was going all the way down the hallway.
And where Ramses said, you know, Jason David Franks came in all prim and proper, Eastman comes in looking just like me or you, just in casual clothes.
He was wearing a Turtles t-shirt, wasn't it? Like a
hat. Best part is, he came in, he sat down, he says, ask me questions. I'm here for you guys.
And he was apologetic. It's still not excusable, and I'll give my feelings, and you can say boo, hiss, Ramses, but hey, I'm going to give my honest. We're always honest here with you. I've always said that from day one. We are honest, all right? You can't say we're not. I'm not sugarcoating. I'm not protecting celebrities. He was very apologetic, and I appreciated that. You know something? if I was a fan talking to him, I would have been, wow, Kevin Eastman is really taking the time to talk to me, just like Dirk Bendict did for me in the Vespor, which was great. You want these celebrity, you're paying money to get their autograph of giving you the time of day. But you know you have a 1 o'clock, and you know you're there just for a 45-minute talk with at least 50 people in a room waiting for someone who's 2 floors below us to show up, and his excuse is, sorry, I was talking to fans. You know, I don't think it's excusable. I'm sorry. I think you have to keep to the schedule. You have 50 fans waiting for 50 plus. I'm going to say it was more than 50. 50 plus fans waiting for you in a room. Do the right thing. Talk to us for 45 minutes, and then you go back to your signatures. That's all, you know?
But you know what? The big difference is here, as I mentioned before, is we felt the sincerity. He tried to answer every question that he could. He didn't shortcode it. He gave long, drawn-out answers. It was wonderful. And the reason Ramsey is so upset is because we enjoyed this panel so much.
That's exactly right. I thought it was great. Started by cooking lobster in Maine. I was like, wow, that's a story. How did that get all back here? And he answered the most important question. Why turtles? It's like, everyone's always wondered, why is it turtles? And he answered the question. He was into all these different franchises. He was into Bruce Lee, and he said, what would be the most ridiculous thing to have as a Bruce Lee character? And he thought the slowest, most interesting animal is a turtle. So it's like, imagine a turtle as Bruce Lee, and that's how the evolution of why they're turtles came to be. And I thought that was very interesting. And then he talked about why they're colored, and he talked about why they have different personalities, and he talked about, you know, all his experience writing the books and how it came to be. So yeah, it was such an interesting talk. But to get it cut by 20 minutes when it didn't need to be, it was kind of disturbing. It was kind of I'm not waiting in line for an hour to ask him questions. I mean, that's ridiculous. I feel that's not right for me to stand in line when I'm not getting his autograph just so I can ask him a follow-up question. No, that's what the Q&A is for. Why would I want to stand in the line for an hour? Because they ended, oh, sorry I'm late, but you'll be able to get me. I'll be here all weekend. Wait in line and I'll answer all your questions. I'm like, no, that's why I came to the Q&A to hear your answer.
Just remember, when you bring the pitchforks and torches, go to Ramsey's house, not mine.
No, I don't sugarcoat things. Vespor can sugarcoat all he wants. I don't sugarcoat. You're gonna get the truth from
Oh no, I tell the truth too, but I felt it was wrong, but not on the level you did.
All right, which is all right. You know, I think a lot of people might say, Ramsey, you're being too hard here. No, a lot of people were annoyed by it. Originally, they were going to have his photo op, by the way, before this. They luckily changed it. Not that that helped anything. So already we have a bad taste in our mouth here. So this is now 2 panels that have late showing up guests.
But at least this time, we didn't leave the panel seething with contempt.
No, because he was great. He was so into the fans. I mean, you couldn't get more impassioned than into the fans.
And he was humble, too. Very humble.
Kevin Eastman, a legend. I recommend all you guys contact him, talk to him. He loves the fans. He loves what he does. You can't meet someone with more passion and heart than Kevin Eastman has. I will say that 100%.
Absolutely.
So 2 o'clock is now the Power Rangers Q&A. And this is without Jason David Frank, because the Power Ranger actors don't get along with Jason David Frank, which is a separate story we don't need to get into here. So this is all the other Power Ranger actors who happen to be on site at the time. And that's Karen Ashley, who played the Yellow Ranger, John Young Bosch, who played the Black Ranger, Jason Narvi and Paul Schrayer, who played Bulk and Skull, and Captain Sutherland, who played the Pink Ranger. These are all the second versions of them after the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers actors left. These were the ones that replaced all of them. So, and then they had the Zordon actor who showed up for 2 seconds after that also.
To be fair, he literally only said like 20 words in the 20 minutes he was there.
Right, so, and this was different. This really cheered us up. This room was filled to the brim. This was the smaller room, but it was filled up. There was like very few seats open.
By the way, it dwarfed the amount of people that came there to see Jason David Franks, by the way.
Absolutely, which was great. I was so happy that everyone came out to support them, because they deserve it. You know something? Anyone that can appreciate the fans and what they did for it. No, it's not. I'm not as big as Jason David Frank, but you know something? I love the fans. I love what I did, and I can't wait to share that with you because I know how much it means to you. And that's what I felt. So this made up for it, believe it or not. These 5 or 6 actors, because we'll throw in the Zordon actor at the end there, really brought the A game. This was probably the best panel of the day by far. We didn't do all of them, but we did this one, and I can't recommend enough. Former Power Ranger actors are wonderful if they're not named Jason David Frank, and this was hilarious. And I'll let Vespor tell a little bit about our experience.
Oh yeah, the life of this panel was definitely Bulk and Skull. I tell you what, they were hilarious. They were not G-rated for this panel.
No, there were a lot of kids in the audience, and they weren't holding.
I would say more like the old-fashioned PG-13, when it literally meant you better be at least 13 years old to sit here.
That's right.
And they were hilarious. All of them had wonderful stories to tell, and even Bulk was talking about seeing good old Jason David Frank in the actual signing group and flipping him off. So
there was a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. like I said, they don't get along with Jason David Frank, and I think it's mutual. I don't think he likes them very much either. They'll never say that in public, but you can get the bad vibes. So yeah, they were all making fun. They knew that Jason David Frank was late, so they all showed up 5 minutes, except for the Zordon actor, because I don't think he got the memo. But the others were 5 minutes early, which is hilarious. So they were all doing little jabs at Jason David Frank, and the crowd was eating it up. They loved it, and they had the crowd in stitches the whole time. Any question you asked them, it was funny, it was informative, they were witty. The commentator was laughing along with them. He didn't need to be there, but they loved that he was there. They didn't throw him out. They were making jokes, calling him Zordon and all this stuff. No, it was a lot of fun. This was exactly what I hope to see when you see former Power Ranger actors.
The fact you're taking every question you could and everybody was laughing and smiling, it really turned our meh day into a great day.
And they said 100 times, thank you fans, thank you fans, thank you fans. They know that we fans watching this silly show is what made them. They appreciate it. They know it.
Well, after this, we got there. It was so packed earlier in the day. We wanted to go back to the third floor to, see how it is. And it was worse than earlier in the day. You were literally shoulder to shoulder, and it was impossible to hardly get anywhere. We went up one aisle and immediately left and said, we're done here. We're just going to go get dinner.
Yeah, we had our fill. We saw 3 panels. 2 were disappointing. 1 was horrible. 1 was okay. 1 was great. We said Sunday, we're going to come back fresh. We're going to get whatever rest of the merchandise we wanted to, and that was it. So that was our Saturday experience. All right, so after that, we left. So we went to the mall. We went to Cheesecake Factory, which was great. Exactly what we needed. We went back to the hotel. We did some stuff for the show. We're not going to reveal what we did, but we did watch some stuff.
We hooked up a DVD player.
Yeah, and we started watching stuff for future stuff we're going to do for the show. I don't want to give that away yet. It's a surprise. That was it. That was the end of our day. So here we are. March 27th, Sunday, the last day of the convention.
And we're going here primarily to see the chip stars.
Before we went to the first Q&A, we actually did another walkthrough. We got there at about 10 o'clock. They didn't make us wait outside because it was a lower turnout. We sort of arrived 5 minutes late at 10:05, if I remember.
On purpose, because it was like in the upper 30s with high wind.
Yeah, so we weren't waiting outside again, just to walk in through a door. So we arrived 5 minutes late from the opening, which was fine. We got right in. We went to the ballroom. It was a little packed, but not bad at all. We were able to get around. We got another lay of the land to get an idea. Unfortunately, inventories were definitely running out. I think Saturday cleaned out most of these vendors. It was crazy. A lot of racks were empty. A lot of pictures removed that used to be there. Yeah, they were like really scrambling to refill the inventory. But you know something? I am happy. Get it from Ramsis here. I am happy these vendors did so well because they deserve it. That's our local vendors. That's our local business. We want all of them to do very well. And I thank everyone who took the time to buy merchandise from all the vendors there because you're helping out all these people who put in their work. They're the heart and soul of conventions like this.
Absolutely. Although there were a lot more art vendors there than I'm used to seeing. But hey, that's fine because I like good art. And I actually have a favorite artist that I see at these things. And I always try to buy something from her that is, fun.
So if you see something you want for $20, $30, $10, whatever, get it. That's what you're there for. You're there to have fun, get some merchandise. So we got an idea of what we wanted, and then 11 o'clock hit, we headed right over to the Chips Q&A.
It's the ones that showed up, which was Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox.
Yeah, Robert Pine, who played the sergeant on the show, canceled last second. They didn't reveal why, we didn't ask, but it was still great with Eric and Larry, don't get me wrong. This was unlike anything we've seen.
And we weren't sure what to expect because we had such a great day Friday, and then Saturday was just such a wild card. 2 of the 3 panels that we went to were late, so we're like, oh, what's these Chips guys going to be? They came in, they were dressed in suits, and immediately we're thinking, oh god, it's going to be Jason David Franks all over again. Boy, were we wrong.
The moderator was in a bad mood. You can see he had a rough day yesterday, and I don't blame him, and I feel for the guy. Chips actors cheered him right up. The guy had a grin on his face. Eric and Larry went right into it. They're like, wait, before we start, we want to tell a little bit about ourselves. And we're like, oh, that's interesting. They usually don't do that. So Eric Estrada, he played Pound Shun Chips, of course. He went into his history of actually trying to become a cop and how he became a cop after Chips ended. And it was an amazing, heartfelt story. And it's not a boring story. It's very exciting, but it was a long story worth the wait. He went into the whole history, how he became it, and how important it is to him, and how it means something. And you have to have the heart and the desire and really the guts to do this. And, the place gave him a standing ovation. And not to be outdone, Larry's like, well, I guess I should tell my story then. And he told how he was a Marine and
in Vietnam,
and how he got sent to Vietnam, and how you see people dying around you, and how you don't realize that you're a man until you see death before you and you're dealing with yourself. And yeah, the place went silent. I mean, these were 2 amazing stories from actors on a silly show like Chips. We're fans of Chips. I mean, I watch it on reruns all the time. I think it's a fun show.
And maybe not this season, but we do definitely want to put up at least a season of Chips to see if you all like it. As
right,
much as
and that'll
we
be
do.
up to you guys. How you to do. It's a fun show, and I think there's a lot of funny episodes. We'll have a lot of fun with that.
But the thing is, they turned the atmosphere so serious and made your heart bleed from their stories that you forgot for a moment that they even did anything on TV. And then, of course, people were getting up. There's actually an audience member there who got to meet him when he was 11 years old because of his mother, and was talking about that, and this just drove the atmosphere. Felt like you wanted to hug them.
Yeah, you thought they were almost tearing up, both of the actors, which was great. Some of the people I saw wiping eyes in the audience. It was like, wow. We had actual officers from Lexington sitting in the audience, and they were really into what they were saying. They were so pro-police. They were so pro-do the right thing. They were so pro how much they realized this show meant to everybody and how much the fans mean to them. And this was just like, wow, are these actors here? Are these like, what's going on here? This is crazy. I can't believe it. I mean, they had us moved a little bit too, not to tears, but I was like, wow, you could hear a pin drop that the audience was just thinking about what they had just said.
And every question up until mine, and I will brag on me, I actually asked the only question in this entire panel, and Ramses can stand up for me, that actually had to do with Chips.
That's true. So Vespor asked the question of the day. It was,
what was your favorite Chips episode?
And they both grinned. It's like, oh, finally, a Chips question. It was like, yay. Eric Estrada was about the mad episode, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, because it was a drunk driving episode. And Larry liked a lot of the episodes that he directed where you had all the different special effects going on. He mentioned the names of them, I don't remember offhand, but it was ones he directed, because Larry Wilcox did direct a few episodes. He wasn't bragging or anything. He was just saying it's amazing the work you accomplish after you direct something. He thought it was very interesting.
And you really couldn't tell that they hadn't been acting or doing anything for years. I mean, they were both very charismatic, and it was wonderful.
It was such a nice way to conclude our Sunday with the Q&As, because that was really it. They had limited guests, because don't forget, this is the first convention after COVID sort of coming to an end now. I don't want to say it's over, because it's, is it really over, but we're coming to an end here.
But the biggest one was going to be the Sons of Anarchy panel, but we both didn't watch it, so we didn't go to it.
And we're like, something? We haven't even seen an episode of it, so we're going to sit there and listen to a show we had no idea. Nah.
Since we could actually shop, we actually went and shopped for a full hour.
Yeah, we went to all the tables, we looked over everything. Unfortunately, the inventories were very low. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to buy. They were like out of everything. Vesper found some fun little things, but nothing expensive. This is like $5 things.
Yeah, I was going to buy some $40 dice that I wanted, but they sold out of them. I thought, you know what? If they don't have them on Sunday, I'll just buy something else. So I just bought something else. I bought a bunch of little cool things.
Yeah, and that was it. That ended our day on a great note. That was our experiences at the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention. We hung around in Lexington for a little longer, and then we both headed home, and here we are.
And now, before we finish up here, we're just going to go ahead and say what our favorite panels were and what our least favorite panels were.
Start from the bottom and work our way up. We'll save our best for last. So, obviously, our least favorite is Jason David Frank. There you go. That was our least favorite. We gave you all the reasons. We're not going to go into it again. We'll be here for another hour if we do. Jason David Frank was a disaster, very disappointing. Again, I don't hate the man. I do hate how he handled his Q&A session.
He was number 7.
You can do nothing to change my mind.
Absolutely. Number 6. The only reason he's number 6 is because he wasn't there for the full time.
And it's Kevin Eastman. We don't need to say that one together because that's kind of obvious too. I love Kevin Eastman. I love what he did for the Turtle franchise, but when you're in the building and you're not showing up in time, sorry, that gives a big X from Ramses. And again, throw darts at me, throw harpoons, say, oh, but it's for the fans. I don't care. I'm a fan too. How about that?
Well, yeah, we fully believe that it's not his fault.
Yeah, I think, his wife, and I'm not going to blame his wife either because, she's really doing the right thing too. But
things were chaotic Saturday.
I think it was just so out of hand. She couldn't keep up with everything either.
Exactly.
And it just got out of control. But
yeah, that's why it's number 6. Otherwise, he'd been a lot higher on the list.
Yep. All right. So our number 5 is the Pokemon panelists. And again, that's not taking away from them because let's imagine you draw a line on the sand. You have the 2 late ones. They're below the line. And then everything above the line was great. This is exactly what you want to see in the panel. But you still need a ranking. They were the least impressive, the least powerful out of all the other Q&As we saw.
Now, they were great fun, but don't forget, these are our reasons.
So our number 4 pick is
Jim Shooter. Now, the only reason that we're putting Jim Shooter number 4 is because he wasn't exactly the most exciting, but he was awesome because he had so much history. He talked to you. He talked to you like you were, one-on-one. He looked directly at you when he answered your question. I mean, it was wonderful, but it wasn't exactly the most hair-raising, energy-filled experience. It was just a man sitting down talking to you about his experiences.
He had a lot of funny stories about some of the co-workers who work there and the funny things they do. You just learned a lot about the business through him. You didn't really learn that from the Pokemon book.
And he answered 2 of my questions.
Wow, well, even better. That's why I guess it moved up on his list. But we both agreed that this is where he belonged anyway. Jim Shooter was definitely better than Pokemon, but not better than our top 3, because these were the 3 All-Stars. So our bronze medal, place number 3, go to the Power Rangers panel. And oh wow, they had us in stitches. The room was loving it. Yeah, it was exactly what you want from a panel. They were great.
Yeah, I mean, the energy was there. They were answering as many questions as possible from kids, and we're talking young kids on up to adults. And everybody was having a blast. They were laughing. It was so interactive. It was wonderful.
So our silver medal, number 2, goes to the Chips. And you might think, wow, you guys just gave such a heartwarming, like, well, they were great. Yeah, but you know something? It's just not the same as our number 1. And I think it has a little bit to do with what we personally love over something else. But the silver medalists deserve more and everything I can give to them, but they just weren't better than our number 1.
By the way, to put this in terms how close they were, think of horse racing. This would be one of those photo finishes. Right. They're that close.
It's really almost a tie, but you have to put someone number 2. We do rankings here, and yes, the Chips panel number 2, and they were great. We gave all the reasons why. They gave heartwarming stories. They answered the questions. They really loved being there. It was like, wow, I could have listened all day to them. I mean, I'm so sorry it only lasted 45 minutes. I could have sat there for 2 hours listening to these 2 talk. And I wish more did show up. I think they had a lot of other things going on. Sunday was kind of packed. They had a Harry Potter duel going on, and they had like a Mr. Science thing going on. So it was a shame they scheduled so much during the Chips, because I think a lot more people should have showed up. It was still a nice turnout, but more had to see it. It was very special.
And that leaves our number 1, which is due to the fact, if you can't figure out yet by our channel, is Dirk Bendict.
Yep, the gold medalist goes to Dirk Bendict. And again, this is out of the 7 shows we saw. There was like 10 or 11 or 12 Q&As. We didn't see them all. So out of the 7 we saw, Dirk Bendict was the best during the whole convention. And we're going to say, we love the A-Team. If it was Dwight, I think I would have given this even more than 1. I mean, just Dirk alone was brilliant. He went on for the whole 45 minutes just talking, being honest, non-stop, telling about every single actor. He even talked a little bit about his Battlestar Galactica days. He had us in stitches. He was the old man babbling on, and we loved it. We were eating up every second of it.
Absolutely. Like we said, we're A-Team people. And to me, this carried a lot more weight. While I watched every single episode of Chips there is, I really loved the A-Team because that's what I remember. I just loved the silliness of it.
I think it also helps that he gave us about 10 minutes of his time to personally talk to us. I couldn't help to feel the sincerity from Dirk Bendict. He's 77 years old. This might be the only chance we ever get to meet the man, and it was special. And it's amazing that was on our Friday, our first day. The first thing we did was see Dirk Bendict, and that was pretty much the highlight, the biggest moment of our lives during this whole convention was meeting Dirk Bendict on that first day. If we weren't such A-Team fanboys, I think Chips would have won out on the battle, but Dirk would have been an easy second if that's the case.
Exactly.
So it wasn't like it was that far behind. So yeah, that was our rankings of the 7 panels we saw. And I want any of you guys who are at the Lexington Comic Con in 2022, please tell us your experiences. If you saw any of the Q&As that me and the Vespor weren't able to attend, let us know how they were. Were they good? Were they guests on time? Were they more fun than what we saw? Let us know. We have no idea what we missed out on. We're just telling what we saw. So now, as we like to do here on Investor Director Review, we're going to give our ratings of the overall event. We told you what we thought about each thing that we experienced. And again, this is just our experiences, not the whole convention, what we experienced. We're going to give our full review on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the best as always. And we'll let the star of our show, the Vespor, have at it. What rating do you give this event?
I'm going to give it a 3 stars. Pros of this were, it was a very fun convention. There was vendors of all shapes and sizes here. You could pretty much buy what you wanted. And it had everything from nude vendors to family-friendly vendors. The panelists were all great except for the 2 that we had slight problems with, that being Jason David Franks and Kevin Eastman. You're fans, that's short for fanatics. We want to enjoy all the time we have with our favorite actors. And our biggest con of this entire convention is the fact that it was not run very well. Now, what I mean by this is the convention was in a recently remodeled convention center at Rupp Arena. Problem is, the convention center was only half done, which meant they had to cram what used to be in 3 or more event halls into one giant event hall. In the past, they separated these vendors up with certain themes, Like if you're an artist, they had an artist area. It wasn't all intermingled in. And on Saturday, you couldn't move. They just came on saying, please keep moving. Don't stop and block the aisles. And you know what? Nobody listened. It was too crowded to shop. And then the first 2 panels of the day, they have late arrivals. So there was a lot of snafus done. But these were just rumors we heard that they didn't get a lot of returning volunteers because 2 years after the corona, people have moved and gone on to different things. There's a lot of things we don't know going on behind the scene. It was disorganized at times, and it felt like they were spitting in your face as a fan. But I tell you what, for all the bad things, I still had a great time, and that's why I still stand by my rating of 3 stars, and in hopes that I can raise it by another half star to a full star next year when the entire convention is open. All these people know what they're doing. So let's consider this a precursor to the better event next year.
Well, I think I'll segue off of what you said. You really broke it down pretty well, actually. I was annoyed. I think, as you can see from my feelings when we talked at the convention a little while ago, I was more annoyed about what went on here on Saturday. Friday was a great experience. Sunday was fun. There wasn't much going on, but it went pretty smoothly. But Saturday was a disaster. I'm honest. I'm throwing it out there. They really messed up on Saturday. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what the problems were. I think they had too many tickets because, again, they allowed 2020 and 2021 tickets that weren't used to be cashed in for this, and that's what we did. We definitely were not the only ones that did this because this place was overflowing with people on Saturday. It was crazy. We arrived Saturday morning, same exact thing we did Friday, and they're keeping everyone outside in freezing cold weather.
Yeah, exactly. Friday when we got there early, they let us stay in and in the back hallway, one of the side ones.
Okay, you had to wait an extra 5 minutes. Okay, I'd rather do that in the nice warm bank center than outside freezing our buns off. It was ridiculous. And then when you get in anyway, you just walk right through like it was no big deal. The whole thing, it was just illogical. I don't know who was running this on Saturday. You guys messed up on Saturday. How about that? Yeah, do better next time, please. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. I'm not as generous and forgiving as Vespor, but I will say I enjoyed the event as much as Vespor. That is true. Saturday did not ruin it for me because there was a great Power Rangers panel afterwards. Even Eastman for 20 minutes was better than nothing. He was great. Jason Dave Frank, yeah, he stunk, but you know, maybe just having a bad day or whatever, I don't know, but that was terrible. But that was really the only bad panel. Everyone else speaking was great. The 2019, it was not like this at all. Everyone was early, everyone was on time, it was not crowded, it was so pleasant, it was so well organized. This was a mess, and I do blame a lot of factors. I think Vespor might be right in that rumor. Maybe they didn't have the same workers. It sure felt like it, because it didn't feel like anybody cared during this event. I think the room was too cramped. They did not have enough room to work with. They had Rupp Arena, where the Kentucky Wildcats play. They had the run of that in 2018. That was closed off due to construction this time. So we were really limited. It was nice. The new place is very nice. So I think this was a good trial run. It sucks that we were forced to use it, but I would anyway. It was all worth it. So yeah, there was a lot good here, but I'm going to stick with my 2.5. I really think they dropped the ball too much here. I understand they wanted to get all these tickets cashed in. It's been 2 years now. They wanted to get this all out of the way. They should have run this a little better. Have limits on how many people can be in the vendor hall at one time. Have the Q&As more organized, have some people walking around to make sure the aisles are clean. I mean, it's very simple solutions to a lot of the problems they had here. It was really run very badly, and I'm hoping for better next year. We're definitely going to do this again. And that's it. That's our feelings on Lexington Comic and Toy Convention 2022.
And remember, this is all just from our viewpoints. We don't run cons or do anything like that, so we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. But this is just from our experiences at this one, and having at least been to one other before the COVID, it definitely felt a lot more organized.
So guys, let us know what you thought. Tell us any stories of your convention experiences. Tell us if you went to this particular one. Alright, so we'll see you guys next time. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell.
We'll see you all next time on Vespor's Retro Reviews. Thanks, everybody. We'll try to do another convention this year. No promises, but if we do, we will definitely review it here. All right, everybody, have a good time in all those conventions and adventures you do this year. We'll see you all soon on Vespor's Retro Reviews. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.